Hello, my name is Selena Sanchez. After reviewing my intake form, I have created a list of things I need to take under consideration when dealing with a minority client. My client is a 26-year-old Hispanic male who reports being half Salvadorian and half Mexican, with a presenting problem of marital conflict due to power imbalance, which has led him to feel angry, disrespected, depressed, experience frequent anger outbursts, which result in altercations with wife. I will consider the following. First, since Mr. Hernandez is Hispanic, clinician will identify culture considerations such as gender role, traditional values, level of acculturation, family structure, level of familismo, religiosity, and spirituality, and education level. These culture considerations will assist clinician in making an appropriate diagnosis of the problem and develop a treatment plan based on the individual's needs and worldviews. Second, a compare and contrast of an emic versus an etic approach. Approaching the session in an emic stance, a client at a resistance and an emergent stage may point out that cultural values and worldviews of client affect the expression and determination of deviant behavior, opposed to approaching session through an etic stance, which client at the same time may point out that client's distress is due to marital conflict. Third, the clinician's ability to establish trustworthiness, credibility, and expertness in the therapeutic setting. In the following clip, please take note of clinician's introduction, engagement in small conversation, presentation, respectfulness and warmth, use of prosemics and kinetics, the transition of power from clinician to client, and communication styles. Lastly, since Mr. Hernandez is of similar race as clinician needs to consider the dyadic combinations, such as over-identification with client, culture clash, and racial animosity towards client. Let's take a look. Hi, Mr. Hernandez. How are you?
Good.
My name is Selena. Did you have any trouble finding the place?
No, I'm quite familiar with the area.
Okay, good. Well, take a seat wherever you like. Okay.
Thank you.
Would you like a glass of water, a cup of coffee?
No, thank you.
No? Okay, that's fine. I see that you signed your informed consent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we go over the informed consent, I noticed that in your intake you spell your name as Jose Luis. Is that the way you want me to address you, or is there any particular way?
I can go by Luis.
You can go by Luis. Okay, so then Luis it is. Okay, and I also noticed in your intake that you've never been into counseling before. Is that correct?
Correct.
Alright, so briefly I'm going to explain what counseling is and how the therapeutic process works, okay? So counseling is a great opportunity that provides assistance and guidance when it comes to resolving personal, social, and psychological problems and difficulties, okay? It can be an emotional roller coaster sometimes because we do talk about our emotions, and sometimes we explore issues in depth, alright? When it comes to the collaboration process, okay, this is a collaboration process. In order for this relationship to work, we need to work together, okay? So when it comes to homework, if I assign some homework, I would like for you to also participate in that, okay?
Okay.
Alright, do you have any questions so far?
No.
Okay, so I see that you did sign your informed consent. Do you have any questions about the informed consent?
No.
Okay, well there's two things that I would like to briefly talk about when it comes to the informed consent, and it's about your rights and about confidentiality. Okay, you have the right to end session at any time you want, okay, and also you have the right to change a therapist if you think that this will not be beneficial to you.
Okay.
Alright? Also, what we talk here stays here. Okay, that's part of confidentiality. The only way that I will break confidentiality is if, I suspect any harm to self or to others. Okay? Is that? Alright, do you have any questions on that?
No.
Alright. I do want you to feel comfortable in this session with me. So if at any time you feel I say something that's not to your liking, or something that offends you, please let me know so we can address that issue, okay? Alright. So do you have any questions so far?
No.
No? Alright, so let's get started. So, what brings you to counseling, Luis?
Why? Well, we just got married about 6 months ago. I feel that my wife is taking me for granted, and she makes me feel disrespected.
Okay. So describe to me what you mean by disrespected.
Well, she makes decisions on her own. She's not taking me under consideration, and it's really bothering me.
Okay. So, do you remember when did this start? Like, did an event trigger this feeling?
Well, an example of an event I would like to say, there was this one time where she went to the dealership, knowing that she does none of our finances. She went and got herself a new vehicle without consulting me. I just couldn't believe what was happening at the moment. Man's job.
Tell me more about what you mean by a man's job.
Well, men are head of the household, and we basically make the last decision. I understand that my wife is getting educated and has a job too, but that's my position. Sometimes I think she does it on purpose so that I can look bad. This is why I have been fighting with her more, and I've noticed the outbursts that I've been making against her.
Okay, is this also one of the reasons why you feel very angry and depressed?
Yes. I feel like she takes my manhood away from me, so sometimes I tend to snap at her from time to time.
Okay, what is making you believe that, she's doing it on purpose? Because I heard you say, that you think that she's doing it on purpose.
Well, I was raised in a single parent home. I was raised with my mother and my sister, and ever since I was a little kid, my mother has always said that the man has to be the one who makes the decisions, that the man has to be the one who, always leads the family pack, basically.
Okay. All right. So, Luis, what are some of the goals for counseling?
I would like her to understand how I feel. I would like her to value me a little bit more, to give me my position as her husband, as the one who is gonna take control of our relationship and take us to the next step when it comes to the man,
Okay.
Decisions.
Okay.
She needs to stop acting like a man in front of others and stop insulting me.
Okay, well, have you had an opportunity? Have you ever expressed how you feel to her?
No.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'll be giving you some homework. But before I give you any homework, have you thought of any ways that you can communicate with her and let her know how you feel?
No.
Okay. So is there any activities that you guys like to do together?
Well, we like to, go out to the movies. We like to work out together. We like to study together. Have a long time at night, as far as watching TV.
Okay, so there's a variety of activities that you guys like to do. Have you ever found yourself there's been an opportunity that maybe you can talk to her and let her know, or you just tend to forget to let her know how you feel?
I don't bring up the subject too much because I try to avoid fighting.
Okay. Well, Luis, I want to let you know that communication is key, and that she will not know how you feel unless you express it, okay? So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to give you homework, like I said earlier. So what I want you to do, would like for you to write a letter. Okay, I want you to express how you feel in that letter, but it's as if you were writing it to her. Okay? So we'll review that letter next time you come in, okay?
Okay.
Alright, do you have any questions for me before we head out?
No, I don't.
Alright,
Thank you very much.
see you next time.
Thank you.
A clinician was able to recognize the importance of gender roles. According to client, males have a higher stance than females, which leads me to suggest client prefers to have a hierarchical family structure. Although client has some level of acculturation, as evidenced by seeking services and allowing wife to pursue a higher education, a master's degree as opposed to him a bachelor's degree, client has actively chosen to follow some traditional values he would like to keep and transfer them to his household. Clinician was not able to assess religiosity and spirituality levels as it was not discussed or presented. There is a high level of family unity as evidenced by remaining loyal to traditional values, roles and values, and great concern of what the family would think, not to mention respect from the wife. With this information, clinician decided to take a passive approach to deal with presenting problem. Clinician gave stage to the client and allowed client to express feelings, situation, and beliefs. In this way, it allowed clinician to get a better understanding of problem. Since clinician decided to take an emic approach, clinician diagnosed problem as an external problem because marital conflict and deviant behavior is a product of client's worldviews. Client's manhood is being dismissed and has led client to feel angry, disrespected, and depressed. Due to several events, client has come to believe his wife is doing it on purpose and has taken him for granted. Client isn't aware that his cultural values are causing him a distress. Several things I was aware and knowledgeable of were the following: importance of familiarismo and traditional values within the Hispanic culture, the rarity of Hispanic men reaching out for counseling services, the impact education has as it allows flexibility between traditional values, the advantage clients of color have as to actively choose what traditional values to continue and what to dismiss. Clinician was also aware of over-identification with clients since racial backgrounds are similar, not to mention encountering culture clashes since clinician is a female with non-traditional Hispanic values. Client believed men have last say and should be head of household and always take under consideration for permission, which such beliefs are unappealing to clinician. Nonetheless, since clinician identifies herself as being in the introspective stage in the RCID model, clinician was able to understand client's values and beliefs without questioning or judging his own values. So clinician was able to prevent any racial animosity towards client. Some skills clinician put into practice were the following: the communication styles of verbal and nonverbal cues, such as the use of affirmations and unconditional positive regard, nodding, body posture, smiling, and closeness. In the next clip, we will review homework, explore new behaviors, explain treatment and intervention, and develop. Mr. Hernandez, how are you?
Good.
How's everything been?
Not so well. Well, everything's still the same. I'm still having issues with my wife. I haven't been able to talk to her and tell her how I feel. I tried to take her on a couple of dates, but ended up fighting. She just doesn't understand me, but I have completed my homework.
You have completed your homework? Oh, okay. Well, can I have it?
Sure.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that, things are still the same. I do want to encourage you, to not lose hope. Things will get better. Also want to thank you for completing your homework. So do you want to read the letter to me, or do you want me to read it, or?
No, you read it privately.
Okay, so you do just want me to read it?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, Luis, it seems that, there's a lot of emotions here that you have. There's a lot of things that you would like to tell her and you haven't been able to. There's some strong emotions here going on.
Yes, I just have so much built up, and I think um, the thing is, she can't understand, but she doesn't. I know she knows how I feel, but she's deliberately ignoring it.
Okay. You mentioned, words like anger and depressed and, how you feel disrespected. So, what are some of the things that you do when you're angry?
Mm, well, I ignore her. I leave the house. I don't call her. I go out with my friends. Sometimes I drink. I get drunk. I do things because I'm sad. I love her. And I don't seem to understand how she doesn't know I want to take care of her. This is why I've been angry now. Then on top of that, she disrespects me, and I don't want her to hate me. And I don't want to hate her. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, it seems that there's a lot of concerns. There's a lot of things going on. You know, when you're angry, you just seem to ignore her. Do you ignore her because she ignores you when it comes to making a decision? Or, it's just something that you go on?
I just been ignoring her just to avoid conflict.
To avoid conflict, because you know that, you already have all that built up inside of you.
Right. So I don't want to explode on her every single time it happens.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned that you love her a lot, and you just don't want this love to, kind of change into hating her.
Right.
Okay, Luis. Well, what we're going to do today, I'm going to introduce you to a type of therapy, which is called CBT, which stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. Okay, what cognitive behavioral therapy is it's a goal-oriented, practical approach, okay? And it's help for problem solving. It seems that we're having some issues, right now with our marital status. We're marital issues, okay? And we're reacting a certain way. We're feeling angry, we're feeling depressed, we're feeling disrespected. So basically the goal of CBT is to change patterns of thinking, okay? And change the way you feel. Because thoughts affect our mood. Okay, so today we'll be talking about automatic thoughts, okay? And briefly, I wanna educate you on what automatic thoughts are, okay? So our thoughts control how we feel about ourselves, all right, and the world around us. So positive thoughts obviously make us feel, good about ourselves. But negative thoughts always make us feel, bad. Sometimes our thoughts happen so quickly that we failed to notice them, which are automatic thoughts. Okay, so thoughts that we have and sometimes we don't even think about, those are considered automatic thoughts. Oftentimes our automatic thoughts, Luis, are almost negative and irrational. Okay, so sometimes we just jump to conclusions without even knowing. Sometimes identifying these negative thoughts and replacing them with new rational thoughts can improve our mood. So what I brought in today is it's a handout. Okay, so we can work on some of the automatic thoughts. I do hear a lot of you thinking that your wife purposely, wants to put you on the spot, wants to insult you and disrespect you, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe we're already jumping to conclusions. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to do this strategy real quick, so we can get the hang of it. And then I will be assigning you this as homework, so you can keep track of some of the thoughts that you are currently experiencing. Okay. So what it says here, the first one is a trigger. So it's something that like a warning sign, like something that starts you. So what do you think may be a trigger for you? And let's use one of your scenarios, something that's already been happening.
Okay. Like my wife buying her new car.
Okay, that's a very good example. So she bought a car without consulting you. All right. So what were some of your automatic thoughts? What were some of the first things that you thought?
That she feels she's better than me. That I feel that she's disrespecting me as a man.
Okay.
Like that my family's gonna talk about me.
Okay, so that your family. Okay, so these are some of the automatic thoughts. These are some of the first things that you thought when she made that purchase. Okay, so how can we make those those automatic thoughts, which you had? How can we make them in new thoughts and make them a little bit more positive? Okay, so let's pinpoint out the first one. You said that she feels that she's better than you. So how can we change that into a more positive?
Maybe she did it because it was a good deal for the both of us.
Okay, yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe she not necessarily, felt that she was better than you, but she was offered a good deal. I mean, that's a good alternative. That's good. What about she doesn't respect you as a man? How can we change that into a more positive light?
Maybe that she loves me and she wanted to surprise me, I guess.
Okay. So not necessarily that she wanted to disrespect you as a man, but she says, what if I surprise him with this new car? How would that make him feel? And that's good. And what about the last one? You said that maybe your family may think that they're going to talk about you, right? That's one of you said. That's one of the automatic thoughts that you had. So how can we switch that into a more positive?
Maybe my family will admire her decision making.
Okay. All right. I mean, she is going to school. She is she's also had a job. Making a decision like this may also your family may see her in a good light. So you did you see how we switched our automatic thoughts, which are usually sometimes always negative and irrational. We switch them into a little bit more positive light. Okay, because like we said earlier, our thoughts control our mood. So depending on how our thoughts and what are some of the things that we're thinking, it automatically, affects our mood. Okay, Miss Elise?
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think, thank you for participating, in this strategy. I have several suggestions for you in the near future. If any case, if you want to continue, we can start doing this. These are CBT is some of the things that we'll be working on, some strategies that are part of CBT. It's more of our target our thoughts, more our feelings and our reactions. All right, so if you're interested, we can continue these into more sessions. But I just wanted to give you a feel of the treatment that I will use. Okay. I believe that maybe you should express how you feel to your wife more. because sometimes, like I mentioned in the first session, people don't know what you're thinking unless you express it, okay? So maybe being a little bit more vocal would be nice. And also maybe future couple counseling. Let's say, you know, issues don't get resolved or get better. You know, maybe couple counseling will be good for you guys. If you know, in the near future, if you ever decide to. Okay.
Sounds good.
Alright, Luis, well, do you have any questions for me?
No, man.
Okay. Alright then. Well, it was good seeing you, and I hope everything falls into place and everything works out with you and your wife.
Thank you.
Okay. Clinician decided to take a CBT approach. A clinician utilized an empirically supported cognitive behavioral strategy, which included engagement strategies, which I performed at my first session, where personal information was exchanged. Second, activity schedules, which also happened in the first session, where a clinician suggested, you know, to engage in activities with wife. Assertiveness training, which happened and a cognitive restructuring as well. Research reveals CBT is an evidence-based practice and empirically supported treatment for depression and anger. The difference between the two are the following. EBT, psychological treatments, are often based on individualistic value systems instead of interdependent values found in many ethnic minorities communities, and it ignores cultural influences, disregards spirituality and religion and other healing processes, and pathologize the behavior and values of ethnic minorities. Diverse groups. As for EST, even though the applicability of ESTs for ethnic minorities has been insufficiently researched, they take into account the contextual and cultural influences and the therapist-client relationship, factors and treatment outcomes, and it has developed a list of ESTs in practice guidelines for ethnic minorities. According to CBT, thought effects are mood. Therefore, clinicians use an automatic thought strategy to help client identify his assumptions that were causing him distress without him even knowing. I suggested client to keep track of thoughts or gather substantial evidence to prove his assumptions before jumping to conclusions, to prevent any anger, depression, and feelings of insult.